Usually, if you have okay. I don't think any microphone. My voice is loud. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah wa syukurillah wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la syarika lahu wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. I would like to begin by expressing my gratitude to our speaker today. We have Dr. Rahmi from University, and then, of course, very well-known family of famous lecturer, Bapak Dr. Sifat Ameriko. Both of them will be speaking on the ethics of inquiry and argumentation in Islam, or Darul Bahri wal Munazarah in Islam. Before we proceed, let me give an introduction, but allow me and please for me to speak bahasa. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, saya mengisi memperkenalkan dulu satu lembaga yang mungkin lihat depan juga. Jadi UMB ini baru mendirikan satu lembaga baru namanya Center for Integrative Science and Islamic Civilization. Kebetulan kami sendiri diminta untuk memimpinnya. Ada Pak Sifat juga yang menjadi anggota. Institusi ini fungsinya, tugasnya adalah menyusun paradigma keilmuan integratif di UMY untuk dipakai di bidang pengajaran, penelitian, dan penelitian. Termasuk juga yang menjadi concern kita pada lembaga ini adalah bagaimana kita punya framework, punya kerangka kerja untuk melakukan penelitian terhadap peradaban Islam. Jadi sekali lagi kata kunci adalah bagaimana meneliti, bagaimana melihat peradaban Islam. Nah, yang menjadi concern kita, yang menjadi sekaligus juga keinginan kita adalah kita melihat peradaban Islam sebagai sesuatu yang dinamis dan capaian-capaian dalam sejarah peradaban Islam itu bisa kita revive, kemudian kita aplikasikan lagi di zaman modern. Jadi sekali lagi keinginan kita sebenarnya adalah ingin menggali warisan-warisan peradaban Islam dan melihat kontekstualisasi yang melihat letaknya untuk kemudian kita gunakan di zaman modern. Jadi kita menyebutnya sebagai proyek ekskavasi tradisi intelektual Islam atau proyek menggali kembali warisan peradaban Islam yang relevan. Nah, kita dihubungi oleh pembicara kita, oleh Rahmi. Dia punya concern, dia punya penelitian, menulis disertasi tentang etika atau metode berargumen, metode berdebat dalam sejarah peradaban Islam. Dan dia go beyond sekedar sejarah, dia juga bercerita tentang bagaimana etika itu masih applicable, masih bisa dipakai di zaman sekarang. Jadi, this is 100% match with our concern. Your dissertation, your research interest match with our dream, with our vision. So we welcome you very much warmly, and then we're looking forward to have a future collaboration and working together. Dan juga alhamdulillah topik disertasi dia untuk match dengan topik disertasi Mas Siva. So I'm in the middle of two great scholars working on logic, working on bahasa. Jadi ini memang kelihatannya diskusi kecil dihadiri oleh hanya sekian orang, tapi we have a big idea, we have a big commitment for the future. Nah, itu sekedar penggambaran tentang proyek kita. Kita akan mendengarkan presentasi dari 2 orang. Mungkin masuk dulu ya, atau Rahmi dulu. You want to go first, or so he will introduce himself first? Yes, so this one Okay. Then I can do that. Yes, sure. And also, I don't think I need to I can read your CV. I have it on Google. He got his PhD in Civilizational Studies in Malaya University. He just defended in July 2020. So I became doctor just 2 months before you. I defended my dissertation back in May 2022, yes. And you got it 2 months after me. Yes. Yeah, alhamdulillah, congratulations. And then his dissertation entitles "What do we do with arguments?" Judul dissertasinya apa yang kita lakukan dengan debat. Situasi munazarah in contemporary argumentation scholarship, meletakkan tradisi intelektual mengenai perdebatan di dalam kesarjanaan kontemporer. Ini kan sisi banget, tuas tradisi masa lalu tapi relevan zaman sekarang. He got his master philosophy and social thought and BA in comparative literature, all of them in Turkey. And he speaks many languages, fluent in English, Turkish of course, Arabic, Kurmanji, Somali, Kurdish. He speaks Germany. He can speak Germany, and then he knows many languages. And that is big introduction about him. And then when it comes time for Siva to present his idea, I will introduce him as well. You go first or him first? Oh, him first. Kalau gitu Pak Siva, ya sebenarnya sudah tahu semua di sini. Tapi just in case we have audience from Zoom, saya perlu sedikit memperkenalkan Pak Siva. Beliau memperoleh S1 di UIN, IAIN waktu itu ya Pak Siva, tahun 2001, bidang bahasa dan sastra Arab, mungkin saya tidak Jakarta. Kemudian ini cara belajarnya unik karena S2, S3-nya langsung di-combine sekaligus. Di Amerika, from Indiana University, Washington, United States of America, dan saat ini menjadi ketua program doktor psikologi pendidikan Islam. So before we start, let's recite together basmalah. So we can get our student. Silakan.
Thank you very much, Rahmi, for the introduction. And thank you, Oruc, for coming to Muhammadiyah University here. And yeah, it's kind of berjodoh, matching that he is working on argumentation and I'm working as well in general with the art of disputation as well in some religion. And matchmaker is myself. He introduced me that I'm here at Indonesia, an event for us to have a discussion on this very interesting topic, because this is not kind of a mainstream and popular topic. Only those who was really interested and selected people who enjoy to it, but it's very important. The art of Jadal, the art of Mawla, some people call the art of Bach as well. Let me start with the terminological concept first, and then go to some historical development, and then later on, Dr. Rahmi will situate how the theory of argumentation applied in modern context. So basically, when I wrote an article published in Islam and Muslim Christian Relations, published by Taylor Francis, entitled Arab Islamic or Greek Dialectics, the Origin and Development of Jadal. The word Jadal or Mujadala, if you memorize the Al-Quran, there are many these terms is quite frequently mentioned in the Quran as well. But sometimes it is mentioned pejoratively in a negative sense, but also there are some indications that this term also used in a positive sense. For example, untuk orang biasa ni dalam pikiran hikmah yang ada hasan dari bilatihi ahsan, wajadilhum bilatihi ahsan. Jadilah bilatihi ahsan, bila hasan in a good way. But people were arguing whether the art of Jadal, the art of communication and debate, so tradition is originally from the Islamic tradition, Arab Islamic tradition, or is imported from the Greek dialectical traditions. So the terms used interchangeably, there are many terms that we used, for example, of khilaf, for example, the disagreement, the fiqh, or the art, or the rules of disagreement, for example, is used in classical Islamic scholarship. There is also the word jadal. There's also the word bahth or munazara. But in general, Muslim scholars tend to agree that these terms are used interchangeably. You can say khilaf, munazara, or jadal. But prior to the art or the science of jadal or munazara, there's also the science is not there, but the practice of having debate is already there. For example, tradition in the pre-Islamic tradition, there's there is a tradition called al-hijab. Al-hijab means kind of exchanging points, sometimes lampooning or satiring, having a critics to the other party, and the other party will reply that critique through poetry as well. There's tradition. There's also tradition of an-naqa'id wal mada'ih, for example, in Greece tradition. But later on in the Quran, there's also very many examples of having debate between two parties recorded in Quran as well. So some are this is Arab Islamic traditions. But when let's see. Yeah, this scholar is kind of for example Muhammad Abu Zabala, Muhammad Ibn
because we have many audiences in Zoom. It's better for you to log in, join, and then
okay.
the participant in Zoom can see your screen as well.
Okay, okay. Can you join? Yeah. Maybe Mas Evan can join Zoom and then share my screen. Zoom there. So yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is that there are some scholars argue that is intrinsically and best essentially Islamic, coming from Arabic tradition, and there are other people who say no. This kind of science, this kind of art of dialectics of having to be between two parties, and basically imported from the Greek or Stoic tradition. Just as for example, say the terms being used in Islamic scholarship, to things like that. It's basically there are some precedents from Stoic literature that's being translated into Islamic Islamic scholarship tradition. For example, after the translation of Greek scholarship in the time of Abbasid, the world of philosophical instructions of many of studying dialectic has been translated into Arabic. Then there are certain kind of development in Islamic channel. If the previous dialectical tradition in Islam basically initially had there is no structure and systematization, then after the period of translation movement during the opposite period, this kind of dialectical practices turn into more systematic and structured way of having dialectic argumentation. For example, before having a debate, we have to have an agreement from which point of debate that we are starting, which is called thesis. Harus ada poin yang kita sama-sama sepakati apa, what is the issue and what is the what is the issue and how we conduct this kind of debate. The issue, for example, later we can discuss about some of the examples. But basically, we have to have an agreement. What is the epistemological foundation for our debate, and what is the issue being debated? What I'm saying about the epistemological ground for the debate, for example, in Islamic tradition, we all agree that Quran Hadith is the basic epistemological source in Islamic scholarship, and then we develop debate on issues referring to those epistemological sources. After this encounter with a Greek dialectical tradition, so they or the Muslim scholarship try to structure and systematize how to formulate the debate, the questions, for example, about what is your opinion and what is the proof of your opinions, what is the refutation against the proof that of your opinion that presented. So this kind of systematization start to emerge, start to appear in Islamic scholarship, all theological scholarship as well. But there are modifications. If, for example, in Aristotelian or Greek dialectical tradition, the questions is only restrictive questions. Restrictive question means that you are only allowed to use whether using yes or no questions to prove the inconsistency of their opponents. But in Islamic legal and theological scholarship, this kind of question is not only restricted, but open question as well. Not only do you agree with this, or do you know about this? Do you have the position? Is this your opinion? Is this your position? Things like that. But asking open question like, why do you argue this question? Where is your proof for that? Why do you interpret that way? So there is modification of questions, of questioning. The way of questioning the opponents is pretty different from Greek dialectical tradition. The Muslim philosophers, they criticize this kind of dialectical question. That is the violation. Itu adalah pelanggaran, itu adalah pengingkaran atau modifikasi, itu adalah satu kesalahan dalam memformulasikan pertanyaan-pertanyaan debat di dalam debat. But the Muslim theologians and fuqaha and the jurists know this is our way of having debate. That is pretty different from the philosophical dialectic. But in the end, these dialectical treatises from Greek influence Muslim scholarship in theology. For example, we are accustomed to see or to read the titles, for example, of the refutation against certain arguments. Shafi'i wrote the Khilaf conditions. Later on, there are some Shafi'i scholars also write Ma'una fil Jadal, Kafiyah fil Jadal. There are many literatures on Bahaf, on Jadal, and Munawwar as well. But yeah, the term in the initial development, the term that quite frequently used is the literature of Khilaf or Ikhtilaf literature. Then Jadal literature. There's one scholar whose name is Larry B. Miller. He mentioned that the term Bahaf is used in the sense of novel and Jadal after during the 12th century, during the Ghazali period, after the encounter with Aristotelian logic, not dialectical tradition, but the logic of Aristotle introduced in Muslim world. For example, the introduction of Monday, the introduction of Aristotelian logical traditions. Then the term Bahaf is used as a substitute or as an exchange for the term Munawwar of the term Mujadalah or Ikhtilaf. So this is kind of the development of the science of Jadal, the science of argumentation and argumentation and debate in Islamic traditions. Later we can further. But what is the purpose? How can we differentiate between the Jadal or the argumentation that are considered bad? They are considered as blameworthy, mazmum, al-jadal al-mazmum, blameworthy, and al-jadal or the novel or al-jadal that are considered as praiseworthy, al-mahmud, al-hasan, the good jadal. So here. So basically like this. Aristotle differentiated the science of dialectics of having debate in 4 categories. First called eristic dialectic. The second one is dialectical disputation. The third one is called didactic dialectic. The fourth one is eristic dialectic. In another article, I will argue that the two forms of dialectics is similar to what's so-called blameworthy general. The general that is considered bad because the purpose for having argumentation is just to prove the other party is wrong, the other party is weak, is to defeat the other party. So the purpose of defeating the opponent is considered bad, to humiliate or to prove that this argument is inferior is considered bad. Whether this is called heuristic or dialectical disputations. But the other part of dialectic is called heuristic dialectic. And heuristic dialectic, the purpose is to examine the opponent's argumentations, whether the argument is right or wrong. To prove if in his reasoning there is any inconsistency, for example, this is the purpose of heuristic dialectic. So basically, what's so-called as Jadal Mahmud or Jadal Hasan, the praiseworthy Jadal, is this one. Basically, to attend to the truth, to seek for the truth. If the disputation, argumentation is aiming to arrive at the truth, this is considered Jadal Hasan, the good Jadal. So, but people will argue, what do you mean by the truth here? So, basically, in logic or in dialectic, especially in Islamic traditions, the truth can be derived from sources that the Muslims are all agree. The Quran, the Hadith, the Ijma, the reasoning based on qiyas and masalih and other forms of reasoning. There's a hierarchy. It's very small. There is a hierarchy of epistemological sources in Islamic traditions. So if we derive knowledge from the nusus of the Quran, the univocal text of the Quranic verses that has only one meaning, that's not interpretable. It's open only one meaning, not two or more meanings. It's called epistemological truth. You can derive the knowledge from what's called qat'iyat, from the verses that are conclusive, that are qat'i. So, as if your knowledge that you derive from the Quranic sources or from the hadith or mutawatir, reflecting the true intention, the true will of God. But if your knowledge, of our knowledge, is derived from different kind of reasoning or from the interpretable, from equivocal text of the Quran, our knowledge falls under the category of probability. Right? From the first one, the quality of the truth is epistemological truth. You have certainty, you have yaqeen. This is reflecting the true will of God. But if we have sources, if we rely on sources that are probable in quality, of that, so our conviction regarding the truth of our knowledge is probable. So in dialectical setting, through dialectical setting, through munawara, through mujadala, this kind of probable knowledge, the dhunun, al-mafhuna, if our argumentation is more compelling than other opinion, other reasoning, then our argumentation or our knowledge regarding certain issue increase from the level of probability to the level of certainty, to the level of yaqeen. This is also reflecting the truth of the will of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So, munawwarah, mujadalah, or al-bahth will strengthen the quality of knowledge of the truth that we derive from our reason. Jadi, mujadalah, munawwarah ini membantu membuat keyakinan kita lebih kuat terhadap kebenaran yang akan kita peroleh. Kalau kualitas dari kias, dari interpretasi terhadap teks itu hanya level biasa, melalui munawwarah, kalau kita berargumentasi dengan seseorang, kita bisa membuktikan bahwa argumentasi seseorang itu lemah dan kita argumentasi kita lebih kuat, maka levelnya not only thought, but whole thought. The boundaries of conviction, more compelling argument. Dan itu levelnya level thought itu sudah mencapai derajat yakin dalam epistemologi pengetahuan Islam. Kalau thought saja itu belum sampai pada yakin. Nah, this is the benefit of having munawwarah, the benefit of having mujadalah, that aiming at obtaining the truth in terms of psychological truth yang melalui that through the practice, through the tradition of munawwarah and bahth. So I'll stop there, and I would like to hear as well how to situate this kind of practice and more toward classical historical perspective here, and we will explain this, how this situate, how this still applied and suitable for our community. Thank you very much, Pastor.
Before I speak, let me summarize a few things. Thank you, Dr. Sifat, for a very wonderful presentation. I know you guys don't need translation, but just in case you guys miss some important points, let me summarize the gist of the presentation. In bahasa, pertama tadi dimulai dengan terminologi dulu, diklarifikasi. Jadi istilahnya jadal, munazarah, bahas. Mungkin bahasa sederhananya diterjemahkan menjadi the art of khilaf, seni untuk berbeda pendapat. Jadi saya berpikir kalau ke depan misalnya Muhammadiyah melalui majelis taklim, melalui majelis tabligh, mau menyusun fiqhul ikhtilaf, we certainly need to look at this literature. Jadi kita perlu melihat literatur tentang ada beberapa kebenaran. Asal usulnya ya memang ada autoritnya, tapi dikembangkan, disistematisasi oleh sarjana Islam, bahkan istilah bahas atau penemuan ilmiah inquiry itu dari sarjana Muslim, dari Mas Ifat itu menyampaikannya. Kemudian banyak literatur terkait dengan ini. Nah, itu lama-lama kemudian membedakan antara debat yang baik, debat yang tidak baik. Karena terus terang kadang-kadang kita melihat debat dari perspektif Ghazalian, Mas Ifat. Kata Ghazali kan kamu jangan debat, ini pembahasan itu gitu. Jangan debat. Tapi nyatanya dia saklis, ada literaturnya, disistematisasi, bahkan ketua majelis taklim tulis buku. Ada perubahan munazarah, jual dan dipuan itu. Jadi makanya ada debat baik, ada debat baik. Debat baik itu yang sampai tujuan, sampai kebenaran. Debat gak baik ya eyal-eyalan aja. Kayak jauh sekarang kita berdebat di sosmed ya, Paris. Nah, sosial media debate. Kemudian masalah kekuatan hasil dari perdebatan. Jadi the certainty of the conclusion of the debate. Kalau premis awalnya pijakannya kuat, ya hasilnya kuat. Tapi kalau premis awalnya lemah, maka hasilnya lemah. Please forgive me if I make a mistake in translating your presentation. Now, before we move, one thing that I need to mention about our speaker, we just spoke about his identity, background back then in the other room. He's a Kurdish, Turkish, he speaks many languages, and he reminds us that Turkish scholars in the past had a relationship with Muslim scholars in the Malay world. There was a scholar by the name of Ibrahim Al-Qurani. He's a Kurdish scholar but living in Hijaz area in Makkah and Medina, wrote many books, and he interestingly is influenced by Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Arabi. Such a rare combination. You can combine these two contradictory positions in one person, and then there were many students coming from Malay world, and then from here to Java area, from Aceh, from Malacca, and then they come back and spread Islam here. So such an interesting topic. We agree on, writing, pursuing research, doing research in the future about, the connection between Ibrahim Al-Qurani, not only Ibrahim Al-Qurani, by the way, about the Kurdish scholars and Malay, Java, and Southeast Asian scholars. Okay, without further ado, now we hear a presentation from Dr. Rahmi Oruc.
I'm very, as Dr. Refik said, I'm very happy to be here. It has been maybe 4 years ago, or maybe more. I have read Martin van Bolessen, and he has this paper called Kurdish Scholars and Religion Studies. So, to be honest, I didn't know back then Ibrahim Al-Qurani had such an influence around the world. And then I didn't know that the family that Barzanji.
Oh, Barzanji, I thought that was his name.
That who is also an important scholar in the, let's say, the Ottoman world. Who was also a very important scholar. You guys are reading it and reciting it. Then also we have Said University, and then we have Ramadan Al-Houthi. All the scholars we had served, and unfortunately, I think there's Sinhani. There's a scholar, I think Sinhani, and many scholars from Java and Aceh. There was this interaction, and I learned thanks to our friend here that books of Al-Qurani, which are not available in are available in terms of tahqiq and translation in the English language. So I'm very happy to be in this place. I feel like at home, to be honest with you, like as if we are sharing, not as if we are sharing history. And I hope the reason that I came here is actually to do the same thing today, to have a network of scholars today. So maybe go back to the previous slide. So what I'm going to do here, I hope that I will not take more than 30 minutes of your time. And my hope here, by coming here, is to introduce you the ADA project. So the ADA project is something that we are doing in Argumentation Research Center. And the basic premise of the ADA project is we need to use in the contemporary world the ADA tradition. We need to adjust it to the contemporary needs, and we need to start using the ADA project. And so I think this is what Dr. was saying, Dr. was saying about integration, ideal integration. So let me first a bit introduce you myself. Let's go to the second slide. So I am from British, as I said, you might have known Benham inside the university, you might have known what Sandy. Interestingly, people from British, and I'm very happy to be here with you. I studied screen is not going, it's not in the Zoom, it's not working. Yeah. So I majored and wrote in, I'm still looking at comparative literature department. I think in Arabic we call it Adabiyat al-Muqarana. So my background is actually in literature and literary theory. But then when I was 20, I had certain, let's say, frustration with the modern contemporary intellectual tradition. I owe a lot to contemporary intellectual tradition, especially the European and the European and American intellectual tradition. But I had certain problems with the intellectual tradition. Then I was so find Sayyid Khalil Ibrahim al-Baluchi is a scholar from Bitlis, around my area as well. So he was kind enough to take me as a student, and for 5 years, every day and night, I was with him, and we studied the traditional letters with him. So I didn't even know how to write the Arabic. I didn't know how to read Arabic. So he taught me from scratch, like everything from scratch, without as what you would expect from a traditional scholar, without any money, without asking for anything. So and he doesn't even have a business. He was selling books when I met with him. So I studied with him for 5 years, and I was quite impressed by the rigor of the madrasa. And I felt like when I was studying it, I felt if I went to the university, and if in this university I was taught what I'm going to discuss now as well, if I was taught what we call the instrumental sciences or auxiliary sciences, which is mantiq, balagha, munazara, and qadr. If I had learned this in the first year of my university, I would be a better student. I really now believe this. I certainly benefited from these sciences, and what I did in my, so you were kind enough to talk about my thesis. So the picture you see is the picture of my thesis. It's called "What Do We Do with Arguments? Situating Munazara in Contemporary Argumentation Scholarship." The basic premise of that idea is Munazara, which is I will discuss all the history, which is the basic form of the Islamic dialectics. Munazara is not something of the past. It's not something that in the history there were people doing this, that it still survives. And we should treat Munazara as a contemporary argumentation theory. It's not part of intellectual history. It's part of the civilization. It still continues, and we should be able to treat it as it still continues. So, and as I think I can be considered one of the living examples that the fact that this survives. I went to madrasa, I learned the science, and then I made the PhD. So, what I do in the thesis is in the Western world, in the so-called Western world, in US and in Europe, we have many different argumentation theories. And these argumentation theories have different goals, they have different ideas, they have different functions, they have different purposes. So if we want to treat Munazara as a contemporary argumentation theory, we need to know what are the contemporary argumentation theories. And we need to know how they meet and how they diverge. So this is what I did in my thesis. So I tried to make benefit of contemporary argumentation scholarship. And then so this is the first 3 chapters of my thesis. And then in the last 3 chapters, I discuss Munazara in relation to what has been built in the first 3 chapters. So, so this is my academic page and research page. I would be very happy if you are interested. And to be honest, I am a student of Munazara. This is my always find me. I think this is good. I am a student of Munazara. I want to continue working on Munazara. So what I say, as Dr. Oruc was saying, this is not ilm al-taqi. This is just my Ghalaba exam. And I'm doing my best to learn about this. And I hope that we will be able to learn more together. So let's go to the other slide. So as I said, in contemporary argumentation scholarship, you have many approaches and many different even theories of argumentation. And here I am offering you one way to differentiate argumentation theory. There are also other ways to differentiate argumentation theories. But this is also very prevalent in the scholarship. So you have in the contemporary argumentation scholarship, you have act-based theories and you have agent-based theories. So the idea is, what defines a good argument? What defines a good argument? Is it the act that has been performed by somebody, by the agent, or is it the agent himself? So is it the person that is good, making an argument good, or is it the act of a person which is independent of that person that makes an argument good? So according to this divide, you have 2 different norms, 2 different sets of norms. One set of norms is act-based norms, And the second norm is the agent-based norm. The egg-based norms, they branch into three different arguments. The egg-based norms, they branch into three different perspectives on argumentation. You have logical perspective in argumentation, you have dialectical perspective in argumentation, and you have rhetorical perspective in argumentation. According to the logical perspective, if your istidlal, inference, if your istidlal derives from the correct premises and it derives from correct premises, it is a valid argument. According to logical perspective, we only check the product. We only check the product of our reasoning. So here, in the logical perspective, which we can say as a Burhani perspective, according to our solution, in the logical perspective, you only try to understand the mental products that are established through reasoning and argumentation. Now, according to dialectical perspective, we are not interested in the product, but we are interested in the procedure. According to dialectical perspective, the aim of argumentation, as in logic, is not truth, but it is resolution of difference of opinion. It is to solve the difference of opinions that we have. And according to dialectical perspective, argumentation is about creating procedures to solve the problems that we have. So you see, they have different goals, and they have different norms to define what makes them. And according to the rhetorical perspective, this perspective believes and argues that what makes an argument good is the dialectical adherence process. The dialectical adherence process. The process of people being persuaded. What makes an argument good is if you are in the end of the process, if you are convinced and persuaded by the argument made, then you are this argument is counted as good. So these were, as I said, egg-based argumentation theories. Then in the last 20 years, you have agent-based argumentation theory. They don't for that the goodness of argument is not established through a certain act, but by the agent who performs that act. So this is also based on mutual epistemology and mutual. And the basic idea is if the argument is an argument of a virtuous person, then the argument is good. So you see there are different perspectives, and I'm going to tie this to other project each other when we discuss. So let's go to the second slide. So now I gave you a very brief, very introduction to content argumentation structure. Now let me talk to you about our center. So this is our center. We now have argumentation research center. Shortly we call it Argumentation. So we call it Argumentation. And at the moment we are conducting 4 projects, and I think all of them requires like their own introduction and their own talks. But the reason that I'm here is actually the 4th one. You see that there is other dialogue developing argumentative issues led by the world. So this is a project by IKB. Let's continue. So this is our lead team from Istanbul. So you have Mehmet Akuzarman, he is an associate in Argumentation Library in Portugal. We have Karim Sadiq from Lebanon. We have Dr. Merve from the Saudi Arabia and the US. And we have Önder, he's our lead from Istanbul, Turkey. So this is our team that we are working on this project. Let's continue. So now, so let me tell you what we are doing. Basically, this is a project funded by John Templeton Foundation in the US. Unfortunately, we as district people, we cannot raise the funds to do this project by our means. We have to take. I really appreciate the John Templeton Foundation for their help, but I think this is to be noted that we need other people money to to fund our own research. So we don't have at the moment in Malaysia or in Indonesia, in any part of the world that discusses another, and so we see that this is something that I think we need to discuss. So this is, as I said, this is a project funded by John Templeton Foundation, and in this project, basically what we are doing, the basic premise of the project is, so in Qatar, for instance, they have Qatar debate, which is the center for debate, and in Malaysia they have in the Islamic International Islamic University of Malaysia, they have the I1, which are very respected, perfect foundations. So what they are doing another. Because in Arabic, the interaction is called another, but it's not another. It's based on British parliamentary debating format. You see? So
It's a big organized.
yes, basically what we are trying to do is organize that. When I describe the project shortly, okay, we are doing British style another. Why not? Let's do another. Why not another? Let's try to find a way to have these debates in the historical Al-Bas and another tradition. We believe that in terms of practice and also in terms of practice and in terms of theory, Nazar has a lot to offer. And I will try to give you some of them. So what is Munazara? I think most of us here know it's short for Adal Basar Munazara, and I'm really thankful to Dr. for explaining this issue. Literal translation, we could say literal translation is manners of inquiry and argumentation. I'm passing the technical translation here. We don't need it, but as Dr. explained the historical trajectory, Munazara can be considered as a revolution or as an evolution of the Muslim argumentation solution. So let's pass another one. Let's go to the next slide. Thank you. No, next slide. This is the experience. Yeah. So as Dr. Rodrigo, I think explaining very succinctly in this talk, and I'm also using his, I'm also discussing his essay, formalization and his periodization in my thesis as well. I'm discussing it. So as Doctor said, you have this idea of two kinds of jadal, right? You have the good jadal and you have the bad jadal, right? And so this in the Muslims, there is this whole idea of we need to make the good jadal. And as Doctor said, beginning from the time of Ibn Sina and Farabi actually, and Ghazali becomes more orthodox. And there is this Muslim encounter with the Aristotelian analytics. There is a Muslim encounter with the Aristotelian the Muslim order. And I don't know if you know, like Ibn Sina, as the, let's say, founder of the Mutaakhirin, he becomes the leading figure for all Muslims, for all intellectual circles. And Munazara people are more or less different. So the founder of Munazara is Samarkandi, and Samarkandi is a translator. I'm sorry, he's a sha'ir, he's a commentator of Ibn Sina, and he is the founder of the Adab al-Basar Munazara, founder of the name. So Dr. Biko have explained, you have first, this is, by the way, this is not the data I am giving here might not be corresponding to reality, but this is just to give you an idea. You have the first ikhtilaf, the disagreements between pious imams, like you have the ikhtilaf and Abu Hanifa, Shafi, etc. And then you have Jadal, which Dr. Biko worked on the in Jadal you have let's say Jadal Khilafi, Jadal Usuli and Jadal Khilafi. You have juridical Jadal and you have theological Jadal. So you see there are two different perspectives, two different. So you have the theory, these theories, or you can even say there are two different theories of argumentation. One for theological discussion, second for juridical discussion. Then with Munazara, there is this idea that we are going to establish a theory that is completely context independent, issue independent, in the sense that you can do another about juridical dialectics, you can do another about theological dialectics, you can do another about geometry, you can do another about I don't know, etc. The issue is not important. So in terms of the contemporary argumentation theory, it is a field independent. It's a field invariant argumentation theory. So let's continue. I'm sorry. So let's go back again. And so you see, as I said, there is this idea of we need to make good data. So and there is this encounter with Aristotelic analytics. So this is I try to summarize this. Munazara is a synthesis of mathematics, the idea of reaching for good argumentation, doing good data, and Aristotelian analytics. Let's pass. Let's go to the other one. So this is how can I say, this is a pipeline that I try to do with help of other people as well, with Longorian and others. This is the timeline that I established. So you will see that from 30th century onwards to 21st century, you have books that are these are the most famous books, by the way. These are the most famous books that they have created their own traditions. So you have the tradition of Salamate, and then you have the tradition of Al-Iji, who is also very famous for his work on Qiyam. And then you have the tradition of Ilgari, tradition of Adanabi, and tradition of Ashur Rizal. Also, you'll see that through time, beginning from 19th century, it loses its appeal. There are less work on Nada. And it's not a middle of 19th century. Yes, no, 19th, it might be not correct to say, but community, as far as I said, I'm just a student, I'm learning. As far as I have seen, the creative impetus and developing more and more is vanishing in the 19th century. So in the 19th century, the effort is gone through preserving it rather than to discuss it, to understand it. And I think this might be due to the fact that in the old time, in the old methods I will discuss now, they would study Munazara for 2 years. So they had the time. This was before modernity. The students, they could study Munazara for 2 years, they could study Munazara for 2 years. And this has led to this very intellectual environment. I personally believe that because through time, there were other fields that people need to take into account. So slowly, it started vanishing. But still, until in the 19th century as well, we have to know. We have the books, etc. In 20th century, it becomes lesser, and unfortunately, in 21st century, there are only 1 or 2 books. So let's continue. So you see here, in this table, the pink ones are the translated ones. The names with the pink are the translated ones, and the names with the pink are translated ones, and the names with the blues are the only edited ones. And you see that even the most important figures are not translated or edited. Still not good. And by the way, all these degrees, all these things are either translated by us or with our help. So we are actually doing the translation. So let's just to confirm. Yeah. All of these names are non-Arab names, non-Arab scholars? No, so there are Arab, Muslim, Turkish. Okay. So these are all because some of them the Dr. Zani, and it's also Turkish. Yeah, so you have as you have Arab and let's say in their way. Yeah. So let's continue. So thanks to AUP here, actually, I realized that there is Mohammed Rada, and he has written a book on and I learned that this Ilmun Tata building is actually this was something that they believe that the Tarjim people they should have known about this. So I don't know, we have to see why it failed, what happened, so we don't have it now. Yeah. So let's continue. You see, so this the classical mathematics curriculum you have. As I said, the auxiliary sciences and we have the supreme sciences. And here you see that Munazara belongs to the auxiliary sciences. Those sciences that have students. And these sciences, we should really think this about. If you are studying tafsir, if you are studying theology, if you are studying usul al-fiqh, if you are whatever, if you are studying geometry, whatever you are doing, you have to know balagha. You have to know banana. You have to know logic. Because these are sciences that are instrumental for arriving at these sciences. So I might be critical to many of us here. If you are doing tafsir and you don't know banana, you're not. If you are doing unfortunately, if you are doing usul and you don't know banana, you're not doing banana. I'm sorry. If you are doing usul and you don't know banana, you're not. If you are doing Quran and you don't know, so this is the basic idea. You need to have these auxiliary sciences to know about these disciplines. And also in the disciplines, you will also see that لا نسلمه that this terminology لا نسلمه هذا مفعول بهذا آلة etc. These are another terminology that because people were educated in this terminology, they were using it. So now, if you go and read other texts about all these higher disciplines, fiqh, usul al-fiqh, tafsir, etc., you will see all these texts, all these terms, and you will not know what does it mean in terms of the technical vocabulary of the science. So, for scholars, these sciences are more than necessary. To say this, let's go. Go to that one, yeah. Now, to stay in theoretical, yes, I have 7 minutes. As I said, no one is unfortunately interested in Manada. There are no, so we have our center working on this issue. And now people from Qatar and people from Qatar based, and our Malaysian friends from Ireland. Inshallah, we are hoping that we are and at least we are going to integrate Manazara into their format. And in your presence, at the moment, there does not exist any institution. At the moment, there does not exist any institution in Indonesia working on Manazara. So I really encourage you. We are here. We are happy to do whatever we can. I believe that Indonesia, as in IWON, which is the part of the Malaysian society, and as the Qatar base, I really encourage our Indonesian friends here to have their own center on argumentation. So let's continue. People in the world, they are not happy with the modern practice of argumentation, the modern debating practice, and you have seen people slowly understanding that there is at least there are some ways that maybe this is just our culture, but we are not happy with the practical aspects of dominant models. So as I told you, the British parliamentary, and as Dr. Billy was saying, the goal in an Munazara should be the manifestation of truth. Is hard and hard. But the debate tournaments around the world, which are very famous and which I think are big in the industry very more, they are actually the goal is winning. You go to a tournament and you try to win. And it has become so naturalized, this language of winning. It has become so naturalized that it's very hard for you to go to the debate club students and tell them, no, not about winning, but about winning, about truth. They feel like, this is not, they are not used to it, and they cannot understand why we should be doing argumentation for truth, but not for winning. Because they want to feel the energy, the adrenaline of trying. I understand it, by the way, as I said, these contemporary debate models, as the contemporary argumentation, they are great, they are very nice, but they have different goals, and we have, let's continue. This is what happens actually in a traditional webinar. This is a very simple textbook. So you see there are 3 kinds of textbooks. You have the elementary, and then you have the intermediate, and then you have the higher level. This is something taken from the elementary books. So you can understand, you can now think about the complexity of the intermediate and the advanced level books. So let's continue. what happens in a classical munazara? I will not go through this overall, but you will see that you have a claimant making a who has a claim to make, and in order to make his claim, he comes up with an argument, and then you have the respondent who either or who should be objecting to the premise. And I think in the Indonesian term, thanks to Ivan, thanks to Dr. Vidigo. I'm sorry. Yes. So the first thing that respondent to should be the objection, which is penolakan. The respondent should make a penolakan, and so the respondent menolak. The duty of the respondent is to menolak. This is the others I could not find. I'm sorry. So I took it from this book that we were studying. So. This is the duty of the respondent. First, says I don't agree with your premise. This is the duty of the respondent. Then, in that case, the claimant responds with an argument, and then having this new response from the claimant, you see the respondent now talking about the argument overall. So, in the first case, it was just about the premise. You were saying, I don't agree with your premise. What about this premise, etc. But now in the second group, you have the respondent discussing the argument. You say the respondent will say your argument is fallacious, or the respondent will say there is an inconsistency with your argument, etc. So this is the level where we're not discussing the building blocks of an argument, but the argument itself. Again, in response to a refutation by the respondent, we have the claimant answering to this charge of refutation, and eventually, after dealing with the premise, and then after dealing with the premise, which is the argument, then dealing with the argument, which is the lead. Only then, having word of everything, now the respondent will make a counter argument. The respondent will make a counter argument and mu'arada, and will say that okay, you have an argument with your premises. I understand you, but what about this counter argument? What about this other argument that negates your argument? So you see, in that case, the roles change, and now you have the initial claimant becomes the respondent, and the initial respondent becomes the argument because he has a counter argument, and now they don't have it. Now I know that it's very hard to explain, and I don't have too much time. I will pass through the example that I have. Let's continue. So I can share the screen with you, inshallah. Please just email me, or I can say Dr. Rafi. So this is just an example that I try to make to contemplate the issue of illegal immigrants. Illegal immigrants should be get rid of them or not. So I try to simulate another using this topic. So let's continue. So as I said, our goal in this project is to contribute to the betterment of the contemporary debate practice, which is basically in US you have the policy debate, and in Europe and in England and around the world actually you have the British parliamentary and different variants of the British parliamentary. They are very good in many aspects, but I personally believe they are more balagha than argumentation. Because for instance,
in British, you're talking British?
Yes, the British format and the policy American format. They are more, I believe, they are more about balagha rather than argumentation, because you will have somebody talking 8 minutes, let's say. You have the claimant, the claimant makes an argument. The first argument is made 8 minutes, and then you have the other party coming and speaking 8 minutes. So I personally believe that this is good. You need to learn how to be able to speak 8 minutes when it's necessary. But I think, and many of us in our project teams, that there's this interaction component. There is no interaction. Like you talk 8 minutes, then you say many arguments, you say even in that format, you should be able to do as many arguments as you can so that you can compel the other party. So, which is very nice. I think these are different forms of procedural rationality, but we believe that a munazara should take place between two people, and these people should be the people who know that a munazara is a process where each participant should know when to speak and when to remain silent. But as you see, I have even passed my limit, and I should remain silent now. This is something that's very hard. This needs practice. And this needs agents to be ability to say, okay, now you make a claim, I will just shut up and listen to you until you make your argument. That is going to be, you have to remain silent, and I have to make the argument. This might seem quite stupidly easy, but in reality, these are actually very hard to learn. So this is what we are trying to do. We are trying to teach people the analytical competence of, we are trying to teach people the actions required, the logic, dialectics, and rhetoric of argumentation, the act. And then we are trying to learn and teach people the agent-based norms, sincerity, what in our tradition called fadail, the virtue. We believe that we should integrate the actions and the virtues together. Let's have to continue. I will finish each other. Just just 1 minute. We are, as I said, we are translating another. Let's continue. Yeah. Now, and what is happening now? We in January we will have an international symposium on ethical debate practice, and we will have another scholars all around the world, debate experts all around the world, and argumentation scholars. They will be more than contemporary argumentation scholars. They will be with us, and we will discuss our format. Just one last slide. So what's the next? This is the part that why actually I really believe that this we are going to write a new project based on this what we are doing at the moment, and we hope to find that partners all around the world who will be interested in doing this project together. So if in your university you already have a debate club, we want you to. But in the case of Indonesia, by the way, I really suggest that we have an argumentation and another center in Indonesia by the Indonesian people. I don't know, and in terms of that, if this center is established, we can do between two centers, between center in Turkey and the center of Indonesia. We can establish another clubs branch in Indonesia. Then, inshallah, in the next project, with attendance of Dr. Vidigo and others, we can have another training, we can have another coach training. So there will be coaches to start teaching the other side. And then we can also, in another tournament, in a debate tournament, you judge, you say this person has lost and this person has win. So we can do this training as well. And finally, this is the goal, this is the ultimate goal that we are having. We need to promote the use of munazara in the parliaments. But this, as I said, this is like an extreme, maybe a dream that might not even happen. But we should dream it. I agree with you. Can you imagine if in the parliaments people are doing argumentation and munazara, and they know when to speak and when to remain silent, and they are aiming for you. This is like, I think the world will change. So this is what we are trying to do. Thank you very much.
Okay, give applause to both speakers. Very interesting. So, if there is such thing as a center for debate in this university, the persons who will be in charge for this centers would be Shifa, of course. Yes. Certainly. Well, let me again summarize things in bahasa. Pertama, disertasi beliau ini bicara tentang persamaan, perbedaan teori berdebat zaman modern dengan zaman klasik, zaman pra-modern. Kemudian dia bicara tentang apa sih yang membuat debat jadi bagus. Kalau teori modern ada dua. satu tindakan debatnya atau pelaku debatnya. Tindakan debat itu artinya dia menekankan hasilnya bagus, produk debatnya bagus, atau prosedur debatnya bagus, atau di akhir debat orang itu yakin dengan debat itu. Nah, itu teori barat modern mengenai debat yang bagus. Kemudian cerita juga tentang Center for Munazarah tadi di Melbourne University di Istanbul sedang menggarap 4 proyek, tapi yang sekarang sedang diceritakan itu adalah developing argumentation argumentative virtues in divided vote. Jadi ada riset yang didanai John Templeton Foundation. Nah, ini ironinya untuk riset tentang diri kita sendiri, menggali kuros, menggali sejarah, kita harus minta ke orang barat karena duit kita dipakai untuk kepentingan yang lain. Itu the irony of the irony. Ya, juga ada ironi lain. Ada orang yang menseriusi debat kayak di Malaysia, tapi isinya, kontennya ayat ala British semua, ala orang barat gitu. Nah, jadi dia bilang tadi kenapa nggak pakai alat munazarah Islam aja gitu. Nah, itu kita banget tuh. Kita tuh dengan center ini, CC ini, kepengen yang klasik-klasik kita ambil, kita akan kontemporarisasikan. Jadi itu juga kalau dekolonisasi. Kenapa sih cara berpikir kita dalam hal ilmu semuanya suka berkiblat ke barat? Hah? Ya, itu dia. We need to decolonize. Jadi nanti jangan framework itu serba barat aja. Kemudian cerita tentang sejarah perkembangan debat dimulai dari khilaf, jadal, post-klasik, nah, tadi poin penting juga. Jadi ternyata ilmu debat, ilmu berargumen itu diajarkan di semua madrasah-madrasah Islam pada zaman modern. Jadi kalau mau jadi mufassir harus tahu metode bernalar, metode merumuskan ide sampai kepada conclusion gitu. And interestingly, sebenarnya itu juga ada dalam tradisi kita. Belum lama loh, bukunya Wardan Kiai Wardan di Pontianak itu diterbitkan 1959. In the introduction of the book, the author says, this book is will be used in Muhammadiyah Madrasah. It's just very recent time. Jadi tahun 59, orang-orang Muhammadiyah itu masih belajar mantik, masih belajar ilmu ini. Tapi the question is, what makes this habit, this culture, diminish, disappear? Nah, itu pertanyaan riset sendiri bersifat. Kenapa materi-materi itu silah? Padahal dulu dianggap penting. Jadi kata Kiai Wardan, ulama-ulama Muhammadiyah, murid-murid Muhammadiyah harus tahu ilmu ini. Nah, ini dia cerita tadi kita ada proyek yang sekarang dia sedang garap, kita harus tangkap itu karena silaturahmi itu bagus, apalagi silaturahmi ilmuwan kan gitu. Dia sedang membangun jejaring global yang fokus untuk menghidupkan tradisi debat ala Islam. Karena anak muda baru selesai doktor dan pikirannya membangun jejaring global. Kita harus sambut, nanti kita pikirkan caranya. Dia bersedia ngasih training S1 atau dia cara berdebat gimana, cara bermusyawarah gimana. Nah, maksud juga memberi training cara menjadi juri. Dan yang perlu diingat berdebat itu untuk mencapai agreement, mencapai poin, bukan sekedar yang gitu. Dan tujuan dia yang paling the biggest, the most enormous dream is metode debat ini dipakai di parlemen oleh para politisi. Keren banget ya. Coba kalau kita lihat debat gaya yang dia sampaikan tadi produktif gitu. Nggak perlu pakai lempar-lempar kursi. Usually politicians are throwing the chairs, use balance. That's the method of debate, you know. Okay. Ya, kita just sekedar mengantar. We have 20 minutes to elaborate the discussion. Feel free raise your hand if you want to ask anything. You can ask in English, in Arabic, or in Bahasa. I can help you. Please take your time. Okay. Yeah, sure. I want to expand my tanggal 13 13 13
2020 saya sempat menyampaikan I think presentation from the I quote one ayat just to pasti pamit surat An-Nahl ayat "Semua dasar ini bukan dari kata but I have a personal opinion connected to this word. First, I become this word is become the spiritual. Kalau dalam bahasa ada apa? Artinya dikolonize. Kalau saya adalah how to ihya ulumuddin. Yeah, to define the sign of because when I understand this word personally, hikmah we have to refer to the toxic when our philosopher this word. Hikmah means philosophy, and of course the philosophy have to study the philosophy itself. And the second one, that is only the Hasanah. The Bible Hasanah, we always discuss about the ancient event. That is history. And the third one is when the Wajadikum yang dia laksa is Mujadalah. Mujadalah is dialektika, or maybe dialektika. And as far as I know, after listening your presentation, I understand that Mujadalah or maybe dialektika means become theory or become practice, become way and become methodology. That's right. Become methodological, methodological, and become method itself. Yes. Yeah. So, of course, it is very important. And I make some conclusions when example when our reviews once. Why our Muslim society is not good Muslim super hold on because maybe they do not use these three things. Hikmah, philosophy, history, and mujadalah. I also I agree with you. Okay, but this is my main question is in 2002 I made it how the monitor is from and his work his idea his work is he mentioned as when he met among the religious people, at least there's four groups. Firstly, there's the replacement model, fulfillment model, and the mutuality model, and the acceptance model. What do you say? What give me the way, the simple way how to find how to reach one this difference people and
Okay, I understand. So you said there are four models for acceptance.
It's fine. Every truth. I have the truth one and you are no.
I see.
Yes. And the full model, full model is you listen is there is something right in my similar.
I see.
Yes. And mutual we have to mutual understanding and the second model. Yes.
I see.
Yes. How to find how to
Thank you very much. I understand your question.
Yeah, and how to do this one because in this offer there are people and offer there are many Muslim surah and different background and different understanding.
Yes.
Okay.
So to be honest, actually,
This is my question.
thank you very much. I think this is the question. Let's say the beginning of the question. We have to find the answer to. And to be honest, like I'm not in a position to give an answer to this. But I believe that although the content of our debate and disagreements, the ikhtilaf that we have, they're not there, right? The content of disagreements can be very different. Like it can be in terms of the hierarchy. I believe mine is studying, your family. I don't know. I believe the content should change, but the way that we treat each other. Muslims and non-Muslims, right? That's not understand. Muslims and non-Muslims, Sunnis and non-Sunnis, whatever. I believe that we should be able to maintain a virtuous interaction with analytical competence. And it might be the case that we also this is what we say in the divide. Remember, not just in the Muslim, a lot of people, there are this is so-called deep disagreements. People, like there are deep disagreements. They don't seem to be easily solvable, right? So I believe that maybe all these different formulas that we have mentioned, I cannot choose you, like, I cannot give you that person, but I believe that we should be able to have our debates analytically and virtuously. This is the issue. And you see what I'm trying to say? I cannot give you and say that we should say we go to the acceptance model. I personally, I think I will go to the acceptance. To be honest, I don't really care. Like I'm trying to do my best. Maybe some people do not like it. Some people will be criticizing it. I think we should just forget about this religious disagreements and should focus on other stuff. Like personally, I believe. If you believe that you are the Fakayina, congrats. Go to Jannah and pray for us. This is what I'm saying. This is my personal belief.
Thank you. Any other questions? I also invite our audience's participants in Zooms. Feel free to raise your hand, to unmute yourself, or to type your questions, and I can read it for you. Any response? So, probably while waiting for your engagement, interaction, questions, I would like to raise one thing for both of you. Do you think that it is necessary to do debate or munazarah for the sake of dawah? I personally like to watch the debate between Christian apologists and Muslim apologists. Most of the time, what I see is that they don't try to reach an agreement. They don't want to agree on anything. They just want to speak, communicate the ideas, and probably to appeal to the audiences. And in many cases, what they are doing is just harden the heart. The heart becomes just like a stone. It's not attracting people to believe in Islam or in Christianity the other way around, but just even to make them even more convinced with their existing religion. So what is your response?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, there is different kind of debate and argumentation, for sure. That kind of what's called apologetic or rhetorical debate, I would call it a rhetorical debate, because they are referring not to the agreed sources that they, for example, criticizing others based on their own scripture, based on their own selected opponent scriptures to support their own arguments. In dialectic or in novel or mujadala, one of the basic rules is that first you have to have an agreed source of truth that you are agreeing on. For example, we are in Indonesia. If you are debating with Christians or with non-Muslim people, we agree that Pancasila is our source to refer to if we have different opinions, not to the Quran, because Christian or non-Muslims they don't believe to the Quran. This kind of teacher, they will refer to Quran to criticize others, or to they refer to the Bible to criticize Muslims or non-believers. That's not debate. That's apologetic to strengthen their own belief and belief system. So this is the first one, and the second one. This kind of mujadala science and novel science also teach us to understand our opponent's arguments sincerely. Even we don't agree with their opponents, with claimants, or with the respondents' arguments, but we need to understand how they build their reasoning. What the proof that he is using, how he select and arrange the premises to support her arguments. We need to understand that. If we don't understand the opponent's arguments, how can we argue against? How can we refute? So this is also teach us to we need to understand the position of others before we have a refutation against it. In that kind of debate, no, you don't need to listen to the opponent's argument. You just are throwing all of the arguments that side from the other sources. That's more like that. So that's more rhetorical than the dialectic. So to me, the sincere debate is not that kind of apologetic, or confessional debate like that. That's not that productive. That's just to show the power of rhetoric, the way you perform in front of people, rather than the power of the veracity or the validity of the. That's my response.
I agree, this is also why we are not happy with the British Parliament policy debate. We don't believe they are actual arguments. We believe they are more like they are very good, as I said, for individual skills. They are very good, very important. As much as these debates that you mentioned between different sects and different religions, they are very important. We should know that. But I also believe that you are trying in those debates, you just try to score, you just try to compel the other party. You are trying to find ways to refute the other party instead of listening to them. So as I said, in our project, what we are trying to do, the action, as Dr. Oruc was saying, the premises, the arguments, etc. The action, we need to find a way to learn how to do argumentation, how to do perform good arguments. And then also the agency, the agent, we need to be able to sincere, we need to be able to open-minded, we need to be able to humble in our argumentation. I want to say something, maybe it might be controversial. If you are really debating the party, you should have methodological skepticism, and you should be open to the fact that maybe there's a possibility that the Christians are right. At least you should have the methodological skepticism, and you should apply the skepticism in your. This is what also Imam Ghazali did, right? You need to have this. If not, if you are just trying to show that you are Muslim, you are perfect, the Christians are not perfect, etc. You are not debating. This is not an argumentation. This, as Dr. said, it's a mujadala. It's rhetorical other than truth statement. This is what I do.
Interesting. Thank you very much for a very beautiful answer. All right. We have
How much time do you have?
probably 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay, 2 or 3 minutes. I want to what do you think? Do you have criticism, comments? Do you have ideas that you can share with us? It's basically a question.
Sure.
So I think yes, there is one, I forgot to say it, but I said it somewhere. There is one scholar who criticizes that Muslims are not being able to think critically, rationally, not having a good debate based on reason.
One is like the same thing,
He said that?
He said
for the sake of polemic, not for the sake of truth. There's Olga the name, the German scholars, and that's why I want to dig deep into this question. No, there are many rational interracial relationship among scholars that prove actually Muslim they can use their reason to the truth. And for this, from this study, it is very interesting. I really appreciate your project to know the Muslim world, how we use the reasoning skills, reasoning capacities to seek for the truth knowledge, for the truth in knowledge. I would be also very interested to know, for example, how Muslims madrasas in Indonesia, how do they use this kind of curriculum, and how do they practice it in daily learning? For example, in traditional pesantren, we have a tradition called shamir. Usually it's debated based on the text from Java. They call it shamir or muajah, things like that. That they have debate, but we don't know how they run this kind of debate. Well, science they have learned before coming to this debate. Usually done by the senior students in the pesantren. I would like to show that the pesantren or the Muslim traditional madrasas have this kind of rationality as well. They may not necessarily know who are the ladies or who the logicians, the Western logicians are, but they are learning and they are practicing. If we can revive this kind of rational tradition or critical thinking tradition within pesantren, we can argue, yes, Muslims can think rationally. We can develop science based on their own rationality. So that will be interesting. So thank you very much.
Now, let me give a response. We don't have a ready answer for providing a club, debate club that is ready to receive the knowledge how to do debate. I personally, because I'm a professor, I'm a lecturer, I don't have a connection with students. So, but each of us need to keep in mind that we have such an offer. So if you guys know anybody interested to know further on this topic, so we can come back. You can come back to me. I can connect you guys to him. We can, introduce you to a wider audience. But as for the moment, me myself don't have any connection with such a group. Probably I don't know Asifa. Not yet. But one thing that we can pursue for the future project, I invite you to contribute to write a book chapter on your topic. The project is not specifically on Jadal or Mudal or argumentation. Rather, it is on why the project on excavation of Islamic intellectual history and then how we can contemporize it, contextualize it. So your topic will be very interesting and be part of the book. And also others, if you have any writing, just translate it in English, we can inshallah in the near future we can publish it. And then we can also discuss any other possibilities to have future collaboration. Again, thank you very much, Dr. Rahmi. Yes, sure. Can you make it briefly because we are out of time? I don't want to my question. So actually we have subject. Optional course. Optional. Okay. This elective. Not elective. Open house. Each semester. Each semester. But the English also input from the competition national level. So actually international definition or accessibility more. But Arabic, English, and we need also like more exercise in English because we use Arabic language. I think also English is and my experience in first time I took my when we have English lesson for all the in degree master and bachelor, we meet in one class and 1 year. So we learn just language, and in the end of the this semester, 1 year, each student has to improve the best competition attention. So I think this like this rule or teach adapt from outside to our town or institution. So
Thank you very much. Let's talk more, inshallah. It's time, and let's talk more what we can do. Thank you very much.
yes, yeah. Again, thank you for your involvement, participation in this today's discussion. But we are out of time, and before we close, let's decide Alhamdulillah together. It's nice to be with you for the discussion, and thank you very much. Future session. Oh yeah. I know this is a little bit, how to say. No, before we get picture, we want to give a certificate to you. But even with a picture, celebration. Lipat sekali sini. Lipat. Oke. Thank you very much. Oh, masih juga. Oh ya. Boleh, kalau mau jadi gimana? Apa di sini kita di sini? Biasa di sini saja. Gimana cara saya? Gimana caranya? Yes.
Islam.